So, you're me, and you're 8 years old, and every weekend you're allowed to rent a movie with your parents. Which one do you pick for 3 months in a row? Well, that would be Fantastic Mr. Fox, directed by Wes Anderson, is a stop-motion animated action-adventure comedy based on the novel by Roald Dahl. It follows the Fantastic Mr. Fox and his family as they traverse through conflict in a world beautifully crafted by handmade art. Today, we're going to look at this film through the lens of the 3-act structure, character, and a bit about Dan Harmon's story circle. Let's go. Our film starts with the backstory, with our protagonist, a young and charming Fantastic Mr. Fox. He meets up with his love interest, Felicity Fox, and they go on to rob a farm of squabs, a type of bird. The two of them are in love. She's glowing. When Mr. Fox sees a chain to pull down a fox trap, he pulls it, thinking it won't land where he stands. He's wrong. While trapped, Felicity reveals that she's pregnant and begs Foxy to find a new line of work. He agrees. Fast forward 12 years, Mr. Fox is now a lowly newspaper journalist, and nobody reads his column. Their son Ash is grown up, and he's revealed to be a little, different. Mr. Fox is sitting at the table when he says this line:
I don't want to live in a hole anymore. It makes me feel poor.
This reveals Foxy's external motivation. He doesn't want to be poor. He wants to provide for his family. So the fox goes out, he looks at a tree to buy and move into, meets Kylie, an opossum, and notices something. The house is directly across from 3 farms, the farms of Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, our story's antagonists. Bogus is a chicken farmer who eats 12 chickens a day and is quite stout. Bunce is a tiny man, a duck and goose farmer, and Bean is a turkey and apple farmer, skinny as a pencil and smart as a whip. As he sees the farm, something is lit up inside of Foxy. He decides to buy the tree, despite it being against his lawyer and his wife's wishes. The family moves in, and their cousin Christopherson arrives. He's staying with them while his father recovers from double pneumonia. Christopherson is immediately more impressive than Foxy's son, Ash, which creates an internal conflict within the family. The night they move in, Mr. Fox hatches a plan. He wants to rob all 3 farmers, starting with Bogus. This is our inciting incident. After robbing the first and second farms, he finds some trouble with the third, Bean. We're introduced to Bean's personal security guard, Rat. They defeat him and escape with extreme luck. This is when the 3 farmers meet, recognize their fox problem, and come up with a solution.
But I've already figured out where this fox lives, and tomorrow night we're going to camp in the bushes, wait for him to come out of the hole in this tree, and shoot the cuss to smithereens. How's that grab you, fellas?
Yeah. See why not.
The 3 bees attack, and the fox loses his tail. Knowing that the fox wouldn't leave the house after that, the farmers came up with a new plan. They dig them out. The foxes were forced to do what they do best. Ultimately breaking our story into the second act. Bean is now wearing Foxy's tail as a necktie. The foxes are still in hiding and things aren't going too well. They dig further and the farmers retaliate by bringing out heavier artillery.
Contact!
And cutting off the food supply of all the animals. Foxy and his wife begin to fight, and the rest of the animals in the community are forced underground. They confront the fox, they argue, and tension is rising, just like the action. Because this is our rising action. It turns out that a lot of the other animals have had to take refuge in Badger's flint mine, and they need to find a way to help them. Foxy hatches another plan. Accompanied by a beautiful soundtrack,
About a handsome little fox, let me sing you folks a yarn. Hey, diddle-dee, daddle-da, daddle-do, doodle-dum.
he digs the group towards the 3 farmers, where they steal as much as they can and bring it back to the others.
What are you singing, Peasy?
Just making it up as I went along, really.
That's just weak songwriting.
In the meantime, Ash hatches a plan of his own, to sneak into Bean's farm and steal back his dad's tail. Much to the farmers' dismay, the group feels as if they're on top of the world. They've got the farmers' beast, and they're about to have a feast. This is until the midpoint. Bean floods the animals out of the flint mine with cider, into the sewers, and the obstacle intensifies with the news that Christopherson has been captured. It feels as if everything has been lost, and it's all Foxy's fault. The group is in crisis, and Mr. Fox plans to sacrifice his own life in return for Christopherson, but not before this epic monologue.
I think I have this thing where I need everybody to think I'm the greatest, the quote-unquote fantastic Mr. Fox. And if they aren't completely knocked out and dazzled and kind of intimidated by me, then I don't feel good about myself.
This reveals Foxy's internal motivation, the need to be great. It also highlights the film's theme, pride, and how it ties into identity. Foxy heads out with a white flag ready, and Rat returns, taking out the entire group and kidnapping Ash. Ash's scream alerts Foxy, where he runs back down and saves the day. This sparks something in him, and his suicide mission is replaced with a
Go for broke rescue mission.
He gives another incredible speech, rounds up the troops, and plans to save Christofferson. He sends a letter pretending to hand himself over, but leads a charge against the farmers instead. Welcome to our climax. Flaming pinecone Molotovs, guns blazing, rabid dogs, Bean is on fire? Ash, Kylie, and Foxy charge into battle. They infiltrate the Bean Annex, and Foxy fights the rabid dogs. Ash saves Christofferson with a little bit of karate, and they release the rabid dog onto the farmers, steal his tail back, and escape. They ultimately win the battle. In the denouement, the animals are now living underground in a sewage system. Hiding from the farmers, Foxy discovers something, a gigantic supermarket, where they get food for everybody and celebrate. Mrs. Fox reveals she's once again pregnant, and they're both glowing. They have an awesome dance party, and the movie's over. Now, let's talk about our character beat sheet. Mr. Fox is introduced first. He's likable because he's good at stealing chickens and he's charming. We also sympathize with his dissatisfaction of his current life. He's put in jeopardy, albeit by his own actions. He has familiar flaws. He's selfish, prideful, and kind of stupid. His outer motivation is to no longer be poor, while his inner motivation is to be fantastic and uphold his ego. His external conflict is with Bogus, Spunce, and Bean, while his internal conflict is fighting with his wild animal instincts. Now, let's talk about story circle. Every character in the family goes through it. Foxy, you. Mr. Foxy is unhappy with his modest life. He misses his thrill-seeking days. Need. He craves to return to adventure. Go. His theft provokes the wrath of the farmers. Search. Uses his wits to formulate plans. Find. Outsmarts the farmers, proving he's still fantastic. Take. His pursuit of thrills has endangered everyone he loves, and he's lost everything. Return. He leads the animals together as a team to secure food and safety. And change. He balances his need for excitement with his responsibilities in his later life. Felicity. You. She's content with her life, protective of her family. Need. She desires stability and security. Go. She's thrust into the conflict of Mr. Fox and the farmers. Search. She becomes the voice of reason, supporting the group and challenging Mr. Fox. Find. She finds her voice and strength, asserting her values and her love for her family. Take. She temporarily sets aside her stance on safety to aid the group in their final charge. Return. She finds a new sense of stability in the sewers as a community. Change. She is stronger and more understanding of her husband's wild nature. Ash. You. He feels overshadowed by his father and his cousin. Need. He craves recognition and validation. Go. He's put into the conflict while grappling with his own insecurities. Search. He attempts to assert himself. His jealousy causes him to act recklessly. Find. He proves his bravery by rescuing Christofferson. Take. He confronts his own insecurities and lets go of his need for self-comparison. Return. Returns to his family dynamic with newfound confidence and maturity. Change. He has grown from an insecure and envious boy into a self-assured and heroic young fox. And Christofferson. You. He's introduced as a quiet, reserved, and impressive young man. Need. He just wants to fit in. Go. The conflict with the farmers. Search. He joins the group efforts and attempts to bridge the gap with Ash. Find. He's captured and isn't as perfect as he seems. Take. He faces danger and proves his worth with his skill and capacity to connect with others. Return. He now has a deeper sense of belonging. Change. He's changed from a quiet, reserved character to an integral part of the family. I don't have much time, but I'd just like to say that this movie is incredible. It's fun to watch, it's funny, and it's a great narrative on pride and family. I have a personal connection with this movie due to my childhood and how much I loved it, and I hope that this has convinced you to love it just as much. Thank you.